Welcome back to the Greater Key of Gressil. This is session number 2, entitled Time. Last session, the group as a whole did some things. We're going to go ahead and skip past the uh, rewind and move right into the current. So, after solving the riddle of the Gate of Eternity, the doors open to reveal a realm of emptiness, a void that feels. Oh, please work. Ah, dang it. Okay, hold on a second. Let me fix the video real quick. Thought I had it, but I am the worst. Let's see. All right. So back to the thing I was saying. The doors open to reveal the realm of emptiness, a realm of emptiness, a void that feels tightly bound around a floating orb of metal. Standing atop the orb is a man, not unlike the man who was beheaded by Gressil, but with a sinister look on his face. He wears green and black robes and holds out his hands in a welcoming manner. Gressil's form hunches down as if in a defensive stance. The mages step through the door in a way that feels more like the door moved to consume them, more so than them stepping through into the strange realm of their own will. The essence of the door and its physical representation seem to vanish from memory and sight. Be ready. He cannot be trusted, Gressil says as the host of the realm's lips begin to part, as if ready to speak. The physical material underneath him shatters in that moment like an egg, and massive yellow-bluish tentacles flare out of it, grasp onto the man, and his arrogant words are shifted into a scream as he is ripped away from the egg in 8 separate directions. The egg itself forms into a floating island in the ether. Structure rises up out of the island to meet the feet of each of you. As you step out onto the structure, you notice that it is like an 8-spoked wheel with platforms connecting to it from past that outstretch from the center platform. In the center, a blue beast rising up out of the stone, which seems to flow around it like water. Numerous tentacles rest where a mouth would be. In one hand, the creature carries an ancient morning star. In the other hand, he raises his palm, and you can see a strange arcane symbol carved into his palm. On each of the platforms around the center, a large tentacle rises up out of the flowing masonry and flutters about, seemingly connected to the creature in the center, which is still about waist high, even though it's still standing about 20 feet up out of it. That said, the creature is known to most of you, all of you actually, as Sod Derlithos, one of the 13 members of the Shedim, or the Demon Princes, this one specifically over the sin of envy. And to some of you, you don't know it as a demon prince, but rather an alien deity from the spaces beyond the Grey Veil. The creature is hostile. It appears very covetous of your power. You can see in its eyes, it seems to be looking at you as if you're morsels to be devoured. It appears ready to take this power from you, or from your broken bones. You also see that massive crystals appear from thin air out and away from the landmass, floating in the vastness. Chains form from the island and shackle the crystals, which glow and quake with power. That said, placement-wise, you can be on any place that is one of the elevated platforms, either on one of the walkways to it, the center environ, or one of the other platforms near a tentacle. I will state this. Everything within 5 feet of the swirling patterns you can see there, the water or the stone seems to be shifting more like water than solid earth or solid masonry. So feel free to place yourselves. And then a couple of notes. The other thing you notice as you step through is that there's still the remnant of the misty mages that are walking along with you. What you notice immediately is that Gideon, the mage that was the worm that walks with the mask, is now in a misty state. He does not appear to be physically present as he was before entering through the gate. You look around for Gressil as well. Gressil does not appear to be apparently present, either in physical form or in misty form. One of the creatures from the mist manifests fully, whereas another one seems to fall away. Actually, one doesn't fall away because that person wasn't here the last session either. A new mage does manifest from the mist more physically. And Tim, go ahead and describe your character.
Ruby! Ruby, where are you? That dang nabbit shot Derelift! I was about to get it on with my wife. Been so long, I've been on a little adventure with plays with mice. Anyway, as you can clearly see, Papovic, known by most as Pappy, is a green gnome with a nice little starry cap on him, and I got a big book in my hand and a little whip on my side. You know, I like to go adventuring and study swamps because they're the most beautiful thing in the world. Anyway, don't mind the smell. I haven't showered in a couple months.
Perfect. That said, we're also going to do a very quick recap of the other members of the current party. Andy, just a short description for Bartleby.
Yeah, so Bartleby is a slightly elderly-looking, very thin, tall-ish wizard. He's wearing pretty dapper clothes, even though they might be a little wrinkly. He's carrying a spell book that looks to be a little bit different than normal.
Corso. Muted.
Very, very low.
Faint. We'll move on. Get your stuff set. Corso, then we'll move down to Ezlo.
Ezlo is a younger man, probably in his early 30s, very kind of gaunt and pale. He has a staff which has 3 tentacles on it. It kind of rings a mode of power. He wears a very fancy purple and black robe, and as you can probably see from the pauldrons, they actually have the same symbol on the pauldrons as Darelfoth has on his palm. Though it doesn't seem like, judging from his attitude, he doesn't seem to have any scruples about what's probably about to happen.
Okay. Prakash.
Prakash is a silver dragonborn, wearing a blue and purple robe, just carrying around a pretty thick book. And he's just a pretty normal-looking dragonborn, I guess.
Benkar.
You're getting into character.
I am Benkar the Dark. I am of the court of the wizards of the favored ones. We are in service of the dragon Lord Reneth. I am a tall dragonborn of black descent, and I have purple robes, purple on the top part of the shoulders down to lavender, and I carry a staff, and I am Benkar the Dark.
Bartleby offers Benkar a lozenge.
Chad, test.
Test.
Very faint. Talk again.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Very faint.
Yeah.
It's probably coming in from a different source. Check your Discord stuff. I'll do a very short description for Corso while he tries to figure out his matters. Corso is in very futuristic, for lack of a better terminology, armor. He has a pistol, and he appears very rugged, like an 80s action star. Alright, good short description. Roll initiative.
Damn, Rakash.
Right?
Must be that Chronomancer shit with the +1.
Hold on, what? Chad?
I can see my token, but I can't see anything else.
You're coming in way clearer now, so whatever you did worked.
I didn't do anything, but cool.
Very strange.
Gotta love technology.
Yep. I cast Banished Gremlins.
Is anyone else having a problem with sight?
No.
No, I'm just having the normal roll 20 issues.
I'd like to swap with this car. That place was so boggy and foggy I couldn't see half past the freckle.
I fucking love it. Okay, let's see. Can you hit refresh on roll 20? Because everything on my side says you should be seeing.
It could just be roll 20 being laggy, because mine's been laggy lately too.
Yeah, but you also live in the middle of nowhere.
That's true.
I think chat's closer to civilization.
Fair enough.
Hold on. How about now? Chad,
I have advantage on initiative rolls.
1 second. Okay, you should be able to set that in your system, but that's fine. Go ahead and just change your initiative to the 13 then. All right. Okay, so that's it. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. Make you feel like this is a deadly scenario. As deadly as can be. Ezlo, your dexterity modifier?
3.
And Rakash, dexterity modifier? You're muted.
1.
Okay, so then Ezlo, you're first.
Seems the student will become the master.
As discussed in side chat, you also are hearing whispers in your head coming from a very familiar source.
Yes. Servant no longer. Having never cast this spell while on the same plane, I suppose we'll see what happens. Ezlo pulls out a very fancy platinum vial with has a single eyeball and a wriggling tentacle within. A mote of energy quickly flashes from his staff into the vial, shattering it. The energy beams up randomly into this essentially gray outer space, and a form descends, smashing down in front of him, casting the spell Summon Aberration, and it'll be a star spawn.
Okay. As the glass hits and bursts and you see the magic manifest as something is about to be conjured, you watch as all of the magic disincorporates. You watch as... hold on a second. A streak of that magical energy kind of moves away from that position and slams into the tentacle on the far left side. When it hits, you see kind of like an after tracer of the man that was standing on the metal ball at the beginning. It kind of shines for a second, dissipates. The tentacle drops into the stone, and the stone stops moving like liquid.
Oh, so it can
spell.
How do you keep them in place?
The spell is canceled.
Okay, but it consumed the spell.
Correct.
Hmm.
All right. That's your action. Do you have any movement?
Movement? Doesn't seem like there's
Oh,
anywhere
I
good
missed
to
that
go.
part. What did he do?
He cast a spell. The second he did, the spell disincorporated. The magical energy from it flung to the tentacle, where like a weird after tracer of the Cardiff of this plane kind of appeared, and then the tentacle went down into the earth and disappeared.
Alright, I'm gonna try to get a better view and also to look like... I'm gonna mount my broom of flying and I'll fly 30 feet straight up.
Okay.
And yeah, that's my action, my movement. I think I need to observe a little more.
Prakash.
Upon seeing that, pretty sure it's going to be all spells. But I will attempt one anyway. Oh, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast Mage Armor.
1 second. Sorry, bear with me. Just for 1 millisecond here. Okay, perfect. That's shield you're casting. Do you...
I clicked on it back, and I was reading descriptions.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks. The second you see Rakash kind of casting the spell and the armor starting to form, the magical energy pulls away from you and moves towards one of the tentacles, specifically the tentacle on the far right side. The second it hits it, you see kind of an after tracer of Cardiff appear, dissipate. It looks like a massive amount of agony in doing so, and then the tentacle slams into the earth. So for the first one, the tracer of energy was like a bright orange that flew to the tentacle, and the after tracer was kind of an orange color. The second spell was cast, you see kind of a bluish color kind of wisp across the way and slam into the other tentacle. That said, it goes to 20. On 20, you watch as the tentacles kind of start moving more quickly and like hurriedly, and then they all kind of whip across the area, slamming into individuals at random. That said, 1 second here.
Is it my turn?
No, it is the layer's turn. Hold on.
Going to smack us now, Kevin.
Maybe I should do the moonwalk so it can't hit me.
Do it.
Wait till I finish this drive.
All right. So the very first one, you watch as it slams towards Bartleby and hits critically. You'll take 31 points of damage, and you're knocked prone. The second one, you watch as it snaps and moves towards one of the misty figures of the mages and pound into it. Looks like a dwarf, and you watch as he kind of reels in agony, but his movement seems to be kind of slowed, like he's locked in some kind of temporal kind of strange state. The second tentacle comes flaring out at the same target. The fourth tentacle comes flaring out, this one hitting Corso. It too is a critical success. This one will be for a total of 39 damage, and you are also knocked prone. And last but not least, Popovic, you are hit. Not a crit, but you will be taking... I'm sorry, not last but not least. I got one more after this. Popovic, you're hit for 30 damage and knocked prone. And you watch as a strange kind of maiden figure in the mists is hit as well. She isn't recognized. Most of you don't recognize her, but she appears to be a Ganassi with a sword, and she's kind of hit with the tentacle as well. That's it for 20. Benkar, you are up.
Benkar may be big and bad, but he also uses his mind like a wizard should. So he casts Detect Magic and specifically looks at the chains and the crystals to determine...
As you cast the spell, you see nothing. No change in your eyes happens. Instead, you watch as the magic is rented from your eyes and moved towards the northeastern tentacle. You see kind of a white-colored Cardiff kind of reach out in agony, and the tentacle down into the ground.
Damn you!
Alright. Benkar done. Corso, you're up. Oh. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice he wasn't even there.
Did he drop out totally?
Sorry, I was in the zone?
He's in Discord.
Okay. Chad, are you there? Okay. For the time being, I'm going to go ahead and place him in Misty State.
What's going on?
Are you alive?
Damn.
Chad, Houston.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, are you having...
I think part of the problem is we have so many players in Roll20 and it's sucking up a lot of memory.
Okay. Are you...
Because I usually don't have this many technical difficulties.
Okay.
Maybe you can just keep your video
Dude,
off
what
and just
the
keep
fuck?
the audio on.
I think they're using their magic to screw with you, Chad.
It's got to be it.
Clearly.
This alien beast. Your character is the most modern. You have
Okay.
to fuck with that.
I am going to... Yeah. Sorry. That's just the way I'm going to go with it. I don't mean to be difficult, and I hope you could hear this. If not, that's fine. We can fight about it later. But for now, I'm just benching Corso. Poppy, you're up.
Dang it! What? This is turning into a bad day. Do we know if we want to get rid of these tentacle things or not?
They're
As I
attacking
kind
us.
of stand up and brush myself off, and not knowing what the best thing to do would be right now, I pull out a cube, and I press 5, and
Okay.
we're gonna see what happens there, and a cube of force occurs around me.
So...
I pulled out a cube of force and pressed the 5 face.
Okay. And so is that casting a spell, or is it just a magic item that's doing a thing?
Magic item doing a thing.
Okay. Then whatever it's doing is fine.
And I'm going to, I guess, move slightly closer or away from the thing in the middle, but not sure because the tentacle hit me, so we'll see.
Okay. So, do you have... It's just creating a wall, right?
Press one of its charges, cube, an invisible force springs into existence, forming a cube 15 feet on the side.
Right.
Barrier centered on me was with me, lasts for 1 minute until you press a different face. And then since I pressed 5, it uses 5 of the 36 charges, and nothing can pass through the barrier. Walls, floors, and ceilings can pass through at my discretion.
Gotcha. Okay. So then if you're just creating that, then draw it out with the draw function on Roll20.
Alright.
Yes.
And I'll move on to Bartleby.
Yep, so I will take half my movement to stand up. And then I'm going to use my weakness of flying to fly 5, 10, 15 here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do a firebolt at the chain behind this.
Okay. So the second you watch the firebolt cast, you watch as the magic, instead of going out, sucked out and away. It appears to go to the tentacle directly south of you. As it hits, you don't see the after image of Cardiff. You just watch as the energy kind of pools in the tentacle, and the tentacle starts to flail about like in just agony or possibly ecstasy. You're not sure. Anything else?
That is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chad, yes, I can hear you. Is your computer still lagging and problematic?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
Discord was doing some weird stuff.
Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and slide you back in, and I want you to just repeat back what you had typed out. Again, I'm not doing text to game, so if it does start to frag out, you're just Misty Man. Okay. So go ahead with.
I understand.
Go ahead and just read it as you said it.
Right. Corso stands to his feet, and as he does, he says, "Repeater," as he's reaching for his pistol. And a voice from his armor says, "Acknowledged." And as he draws his weapon, you see the cylinder has been replaced with what looks like an energized battery. And as he draws his weapon, he flies away from the monstrosity, and he fires 2 shots at it with a +1 to attack and damage because of the repeating infusion.
And you rolled a 24 and a 17.
So that first one's a 25. The second.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So
Yeah. It would be a 25 and an 18.
The first one will hit. Go ahead and give me damage on that.
Okay. And boots of flying. That's a flying speed equal to your walking speed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have 15 feet of movement left. So I'm gonna move. I'm basically going to move diagonally, so by the time I'm over here, I'm actually going to be 15 feet in the air.
Got it. So you two are both kind of in that.
And I'm actually going to be above.
He said he was.
Yeah, I'm going to be above him.
He's flying. Bartleby's up, right?
Well.
I think you're both on the same. I think he's 30 feet up, right,
well,
Andy?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so because I wouldn't have had enough movement to get where I am. I think I just basically flew at essentially ground level.
Okay, so you kind of floated. Got it. So then, yeah, you would be over him. Sorry, Chad. So then, yeah, perfect. It does look like the damage goes through. And you fly over to that space. Great. Okay. It'll go to the creature. The Sauderlathoth. All right. So, let's see. I will. I'm going to attack Rakosh. I believe. Are you airborne, Rakosh?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so its body kind of leans out. You can see that its legs are nothing more than tentacles that seem to be kind of interconnected inside of the pool. You presume that its bottom half is actually the rest of the place. It comes out and its front face, kind of the tentacles slam down at you. Let's see. 20 hit your armor class?
Yeah.
Okay. As it does, the dozens or so of tentacles kind of slam onto you. You can feel them pierce into your flesh. You take 18 points of damage. You can also feel kind of like a strange kind of twisting and cutting feel on your lower abdomen, which you presume is kind of a mouth. And as you kind of feel it, it starts to widen. And it feels like it's kind of moving under you like a hula hoop would kind of go around you, like underneath you and kind of getting your under half. Its body is very massive. Its head is very dominant on its form there. And it now has Rakosh kind of up into the side. As it's doing that, tentacle flares out from behind Benkar and will strike him. This one is different. 25 to hit.
Can I cast a reaction spell?
Yeah, you can.
I will cast Benkar's Embrace.
Okay.
I will click it.
Now, Benkar's Embrace is a spell that he specifically made for the purposes of this game. They all have named spells. But, unfortunately, as you cast the spell, you watch as the black energy of the necromantic power zips from it and moves towards the tentacle on the southeastern side. And you see a kind of dark after image of Cardiff appear for just a second in agony. The tentacle wiggles about randomly and then zips into the earth.
Sir!
The tentacle will still follow through with its hit on you. It will deal 20 points of bludgeoning damage to you, and it grapples you, Benkar. It will also continue its process by moving you in towards the center.
Benkar hates being grappled.
Yep. So for flavor purposes, there is a tentacle that is connected to the northernmost tentacle and Benkar. It's probably close to like 4, maybe 5 feet wide, and its tip is kind of closer to 2 or 3, and it's wrapped around Benkar and kind of pushing him in towards the center. And as you kind of approach the center, the thing flares its mace out to you and bashes you with it. 19 would probably hit, but I rolled a 1, so it's an auto failure.
Yay!
Feel free to do the math on that and despair. Ezlo, you are up.
All right. Time for an experiment. I'm going to expel 5 charges on my Staff of Power to attempt Hold Monster on Sod Darlathoth.
Cast it.
I must put it into the book. 1 second.
Hold on a second. I can answer my own question.
It's a
Hold
plus 18 to hit.
Hold person, you said, right?
Hold Monster, the super one.
Okay. Alright, so you watch as the spell kind of detonates from the staff, and you watch the magical energy siphon out over top Sod Darlathoth, slamming into the tentacle. You see kind of like a strangely kind of yellowish colored Cardiff appear in the tentacle, like in agony, disappear, the tentacle drops into the ground.
Alright, so experiment success. Bonus action, I'll have my gazer just fire off 2 beams at Sod Darlathoth. Let me see, it's supposed to be random. A 3 and a 4, so that's a frost ray.
Okay.
Because of one of my invocations, the DC is now 20 instead of 12.
Dexterity?
Dexterity.
Fails.
Alright, so do you want me to roll 3d6 or do you want to take 10?
Whichever you want to do.
10, because my dice suck.
Okay. And then second ray?
I am assuming he weighs more than 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his telekinetic ray will have no effect. He is too thick.
Perfectly fair. Rakash.
I'd like to ask a monster how much it weighs. Come on.
Okay. Upon getting hit, I will use Rakash's Time Sap.
Oh, that's a reaction you'd take.
Oh, it just said one action. I didn't know I could use it as a reaction.
Oh.
I'm doing it as my turn.
Okay,
Sorry.
hold on. Let me double check that spell. Thank you.
There it is.
Okay, you're just doing it in response. It's not a reaction.
Yeah, no, it's not a reaction. It's just
Sorry.
in response.
Okay, cool. That's fine. The spell works. Constitution saving throw. Or half on a success. Let's see. Go for it. I got a good con saving throw. DC 20? Nailed
Yep.
it. So half. Go ahead and it would be 18. Half would be 9. Alright. Benkar, before you go, the tentacle that currently is holding you slams down with you in it. And then the 2 tentacles on the south side whip around Popovic's cube. One slamming into Corso, and the one behind on the south side slamming into Ezlo. So, tentacle on Corso, 24 to hit. Chad?
I believe so.
Okay.
I
So,
think my AC is 22.
okay, nailed it. So you'll take 24 bludgeoning damage, and you are knocked prone. Because you are flying, that means you fall. You are 15 feet height, so you'll take an extra d10 damage, which is only 1. So total of 25 damage. Lucky rolls. And then the other one was going on Ezlo. We are rolling hot tonight. Not a crit, but real damn close. It'll be 18 damage, Ezlo, and you are knocked prone.
Hold on. I'm going to invoke my Entropic War to give disadvantage on that attack.
Okay, so instead of 37, it's a 31.
Damn it.
So 18 still, or 31 still hits, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just checking. 18 bludgeoning damage, and you're knocked prone.
Oh.
Yay.
All right, Benkar, you are up. You are grappled, by the way.
Benkar grips his staff tightly and closes his eyes and screams out in Draconic, "Grah, grah, grah!" And basically, he just cast Dimension Door, which is a conjuration spell. And he's going to try Dimension Door to one of the platforms.
Okay, whichever one you want to go to, the spell goes through successfully.
When he lands, he goes, "Rah!" Which Rakesh would know means, "Don't fuck with me, man."
I'm kind of busy getting eaten right now.
All right, and do you have any movement or bonus action?
Nope. That's good for me for now.
Okay. What you'll notice immediately is as you disappear from it, the tentacle goes and back into its position where it's now kind of just wriggling in its space. But the second it kind of has lost its anchor, it moves. All right, Corso, you are up.
Corso's not happy about being smacked around.
Fair.
As he picks himself up off the ground, use a bonus action to ready my wand of fireballs. So you see this mechanism sort of pop out of, the region of his armor by like his back and shoulders, and it sort of telescopes out and flips up over his shoulder, and a glowing wand that looks like burning embers kind of like telescopes out of it and points at this monstrosity, Darlothoth, and casts fireball at 4th level. So
Okay.
that's charges.
You watch as the wand begins to exhibit the normal properties of the fireball generating at its tip. And as the ball is about to fire, you watch as reddish energy siphons away from it and slams into the tentacle that just slapped you down. As it hits, you see a reddish pattern of Cardiff kind of appear. In agony, the tentacle wiggles and then drops into the ground, causing the ground to become stone. The spell doesn't happen.
Okay, that's fine. Corso finishes standing up and he moves further back. This time he's not flying, so he's going to move 5, 10, 15. And that should be it for my turn.
Perfect. Corso done. Popovic, you are up. And you are locked in your box. Hanging out.
Well, it looks like you're trying to take these down, Benkar, by doing different things. So, I guess I'll join the fray finally.
Well,
Let
you
me
just
back up a bit.
You got shunted out of marital coitus, and now you're stuck in a fucking hellscape with random bunch of people you don't know.
Exactly.
Fighting
Why
a
else do you
demon
think I
prince.
hit the panic button?
I smell just as bad as before.
Oh, she loves it. She loves the snake.
The Hooba thing. Anyways, Popovic.
So I move back. I think that's 15 feet or something,
Sure, yeah.
and I press 6 on the cube. Probably a foolish thing, but to lower the cube so I can actually enter this fight. Since my spells can't go through this either. Otherwise, I would try. And yeah, I lower the cube, getting ready to jump in, gang beast style on the bad guy.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm ready to do this. Let's F him up.
Bartleby, you are up.
Bartleby is going to fly back behind Corso.
Who's the tank? No, you're the
That's
tank.
right. And then all of a sudden you see what appears to be another version of Benkar. And he goes, Benkar!
What?
I cast disguise self.
The second you
what
try to
happens?
shape yourself, you feel the magic kind of pulling over you. All of the purple energy flies from you, kind of more violet really, and slams into the tentacle on the south side. The spell does not take effect. The
I still yell Benkar. Benkar!
Benkar! You watch as the purplish shape, it appears to be a different mage for a second, and then you see kind of like the face shift into Cardiff, and then drag it down. You can make a history check. Just you,
I would
Bartleby.
love to.
Or no, sorry, you cannot.
Ooh.
Corso, you can. Benkar, you can. Ezlo, you can.
That hurts my soul
No,
as a
sorry,
scrivener.
Ezlo, you cannot. Apologies. Just trying to get my chronological setup right. Corso, you would recognize the mage he was before, and then shifted into the weird Cardiff figure as a mage known as Yen Loren, a powerful mage who wielded a thing called the Dream Shard during the Old Ages, and he was a Jernarin who fought to help Parnak during its most kind of tumultuous time. So this would be your own history. And Benkar, yeah, you know a bit about the far eastern lands outside of the Dragon Isles, and you are familiar with the wielder of the Dream Shard. Map player? Oh, hold on a second.
Dragonborns know a lot.
The reason why you couldn't make a history check, Bartleby, is it's not a history check for you. It's a hasn't happened
Right.
yet.
right. Now I understand.
Okay. All right. So it'll.
Oh, John, I'm current era. Would have had one too?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Am
gotta
I the
be
only
28.
ancient one here?
Yeah. DC's
20?
20. Nailed it. Yeah. Yen Loren, powerful warlock, actually, who wielded the Dream Shard.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
wait, guys, why does this wizard keep showing up and he's looking like different people? Is this a good or bad thing?
Who is this guy? Derlathoth will continue with its itinerary. I am going to actually. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the bad now. So yeah.
Right after I moved my cubicle.
Ezlo, go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
I don't want to. That's a 19.
Nice.
And that's a failure.
Okay.
So you feel your mind kind of like, kind of enter this strange kind of torporic state. As you all are watching, you watch as Ezlo kind of glazes over for a second and becomes dormant. But then you watch as the gazer next to him kind of floats over his head and become kind of phased over his entire head and then become manifestly present again. The gazer's head is now where Ezlo's head was, and you're currently dominated, Ezlo. So, yeah, on your turn, I will have you perform an action to assist me in murdering these bad people.
Hey, anytime.
Don't
Anytime.
keep doing it, everybody.
I will use my other two actions to Tentacle Grasp on Rakash. 22 to hit. Snap, move you in close, and... oh wait, no, I already had you.
It
Right.
likes your sweet meat, Rakash.
Did I already have you, Rakash?
Yeah, you had already hit me with the tentacle thing. I don't know.
Then I'll just pull you in for the bite, or the swallow rather. Yep. So as an action, you are swallowed. You are blind, restrained. You have everything has total cover against attacks from you, and you have total cover against attacks from anything outside, save Saw Derlathoth. At the start of your turn, you will be taking some acid damage, as you are now in my gullet. That's it for that, and then the tentacle grasp will actually shoot out at... let's roll it.
Get my dragonborn brethren in here.
It will be going against
We'll
Popovic.
take him out from the inside.
Popovic,
Born tastes better.
22 to hit.
Yeah, there's no way I'm missing that thing.
Alright, so it's going to drag you 20 feet towards the center. The tentacle's actually coming from the north side. It slams all the way out across, grabs you, and starts pulling you in towards it. There's like
Help!
little Popovic kind of coming.
It's got me! I can't feel Guys, help me!
Think like Anaconda. It literally has you wrapped and it's just Popovic head. Like that's all. And
It's really tight in here.
while you're grappled by it,
restrained?
you are restrained, and you are also you're strained. Sorry, that's it. Ezlo, you are up. I would like you to perform Algeric Blast on Corso.
As my master commands.
You're so loving this. You bend right into this, Steve.
Let me just check how many blasts I get at this
I
level.
think it's 4 or 3.
3.
Leaning in.
And if he has a staff of power, it's a +2 to his attack rolls.
Corso,
Oh my.
26, 18, and 28 to hit you. Do those all hit?
I believe the 18.
The 18 does not.
Okay. So then go ahead and give me 2 damage rolls, please, Steve. So Corso, you'll be taking 9 and then 10 force damage, 2 separate instances. They came from the strange sorcerer, warlock rather, who now is wearing his familiar as a mask.
And Ezlo doesn't have any power-ups for Eldritch Blast as invocations.
No, he went.
Oh, I do actually. No, wait, no, I don't.
He went all sight crazy stuff. And wait, do you have anything? What?
I have agonizing blast.
Oh, then it would be pluses. Your charisma modifier
Oh no,
is
no.
5, right?
Yeah, it'd be another 10 damage.
Yeah, another 10 damage. So it'd be 14 and 15, Chad. 2 instances. But that said, wisdom saving throw at the end of your turn, please. Steve.
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry. 13. I don't think is going to cut it.
I don't think anybody has inspiration. But yeah.
Did Kevin get it last session and not use it?
He sure did.
Yeah. Yeah, can I? You must have watched the video.
Do you want to
And
use it?
I will use his inspiration and say, Ezlo, my friend, you must join the right side.
So, Ezlo, here's a fun moment. So you feel that your current psyche is kind of suppressed into the earliest states of your pact. You feel like the source of that is the gazer, your familiar. And then you feel this strange kind of siphoning of yourself into the gazer. And you're pretty sure it's malicious. So then you kind of realize, well, I could make this more sufficient. And you realize that you can bend your personality into your gazer and make your gazer fully your own. As you do so, you feel the entirety of the connection between you and Derlithoth, even through it being summoned as your familiar, sever. As the gazer moves off of your head, you realize its features have changed to be more like Ezlo's. And it still is a gazer, but it now has kind of an almost eerie kind of resemblance to Ezlo. So it's like looking in a really weird, fun mirror.
Yeah, with his mimicry, he sounds like me too.
Yep. But yeah, that'd be the end of your turn. You are no longer dominated. Rakosh, you are still grappled, restrained, and also inside of me. Take 42 points of acid damage. Melt.
Hey, how do I get out of this? Can I do like a strength save or something to try to fight out of it?
You can attempt to escape. Yeah, it's a pretty high DC, but you can attempt it. It's your action to do so. You can cast spells. Dimension Door is one you don't have to see a location to go to.
Okay.
Other stuff like that.
I will cast Dimension Door then.
Yeah, Dimension Door can get you anywhere here.
I'm gonna move myself to where I best remember Benkar being.
Okay. Alright, on 20. Tentacle comes slapping out. This one will slap at Corso. I think Corso is my current main target. 25 to hit, so that'll work. 14.
Hi.
5. 20. 14 bludgeoning damage, and you're knocked down again. I'm sorry.
I got knocked down.
And I got up again. Sorry, chat. The computer's not working and I keep hitting you. Benkar, you are up.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah, I'm way past half hit points.
Oh, me too.
I'm
Benkar,
pretty sure the amount of damage I've taken would have killed at least 2 other members of our party.
Benkar will look to the sky and cast the spell Fly and try to fly up in the air.
Can you throw that spell for me real quick? Alright. As you start to kind of jump up like you expect to go upwards, you watch as the magical energy from the spell kind of siphons into kind of in front of you and zips off towards the last tentacle. You see
Nice.
a kind of strange form, greenish in color, with a massively long scarf and much younger version of Cardiff kind of appear in the tentacle and then get dragged down into the earth.
Love that puzzle.
Second that happens...
Was that a Doctor Who reference?
What's that? The scarf?
Yeah.
No, he did have it as a young version. We went through several versions with Dan. If you look at him on the cover of Cardiff's Tattered Notes, he's got the scarf on. But yeah, it is kind of... I mean, Cardiff is the place where Doctor Who was made. Don't mention that it's copyright stuff, man. Oh, you ruin it. Anyway, as it drops into the earth, you watch as Darlathov kind of shifts in his position, kind of squirming in his spot. Yeah, Benkar, good deal. Corso, you are up.
Corso's pissed. He's not very happy at all. He stands up.
Help me!
He stands up and he raises his pistol like he's going to shoot, but then he's also very aware of just how much pain he's in. So he kind of grimaces, and as much as he would like to inflict some damage, he's going to go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on himself at 3rd level.
Maximize it?
No.
No, I'm telling I'm telling you to maximize all dice rolls for the spell.
Oh.
You feel like the space that you're... Hold on, let me double check something. No, sorry, incorrect. Do not maximize. Roll it.
Oh shoot, guys! Do we remember what went where? Because that's how you're gonna do max damage on thing.
We need to do some video.
That's my action. And with my bonus action, he says, like he's gonna step forward a little bit, but he's gonna say, "Now shoot it!" And his little homunculus kind of like pops out of his backpack and is gonna use his turn to shoot it.
Okay. You should have access to that guy on the... He should be on the sheets.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
Give me a second. I'm trying to update everything.
No worries. Since it's just bang bang, go ahead, and you're not going to kill it. Vic, you are up.
Right.
You're doing surprisingly well. By the way, congrats again, Kevin, on solving stuff. Yeah, it does.
Boo. Yeah, that's...
Poppy, Vic, you're up.
Alright, I'll stop not typing things because that's not what I'm doing. I'm getting dragged in by a tentacle!
You still are... Actually, no. Sorry, you are no longer grabbed by a tentacle. The tentacle went away.
Real fast. I can see the red lettering telling what things are on my map.
Red lettering?
On the one and the one that we're on.
I've been typing those in. That's the spell schools I remember that where they...
Okay, I thought that was something he was
that may be important based on thing John said that he didn't say.
Oh, no, it's fine. I meant to say it.
So, anyway, but... I'm still prone, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I at most can move 10 feet. So, yeah.
No, it would be 15. You round down for half.
You round down?
Yeah, you get up 10, and then you can move 15.
Oh, okay. Still, that doesn't really get me, like, really close to the party, so... Well, guys, just so you know, I'm not a complete crap of a wizard. I didn't have this prepared. and I will go ahead and Misty Step.
Okay. Cool.
I believe I can go.
Yep. Right across the way.
Right there, and I'll get up and I'll go 1, 2.
Alright, guys, this is the plan. Next time, I'm gonna pop his spell off, and then we're gonna go eat nuts on the dude and kick his ass.
Ape nuts.
God, this is the funniest shit ever. Alright, and then action. Cantrip.
Oh, cantrip. Am I allowed to cast? Oh right. The most I could do is a cantrip.
Unless you took spell driver.
I didn't. I was considering it. But good call though, because I can do cantrips.
Go with it.
And let's do.
Bartleby, you're on deck. Playing your action.
I'm good.
Please say.
Yes!
We are gonna casting shot his butt. I
Okay.
tapped that twice by accident.
That's fine. 26 hits.
Sweet.
And get him for 11 acid damage! Kapowie!
Alright. So you watch as it's hit by the acid, and where it would burn, you see it kind of glistening against like the carapace. Instead of burning through it and kind of melting into it, it seems to do nothing. If you're familiar with the Alien series, it's glistening like a xenomorph, and the acid kind of hits on it like it would on a xenomorph's carapace. It doesn't melt through. That said, Bartleby, you're up.
Right. Bonus action. I'm going to manifest my spellbook, my awakened spellbook.
Okay.
I'm going to fly up and over here. And I'm going to cast Fireball on this thing.
That's weird.
Oh, I guess I got to do this.
That's fine. It detonates on it. That's fine. I don't need you to roll damage. Same story happens with the fire type damage.
So wait, the fire type damage does not go through.
Yeah, it's immune.
Okay.
Let's see. Bartleby. Done. But hold on, the book.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Oh, it's a class feature. That's why it's not on there. Okay.
Like any old token, and I'll just use it.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah. Avangul Boombots, take this.
I thought it was a spell. I don't know why.
Thank you.
You should have control of it. Yeah. Oh my god. I gotta refresh. Hold on a second. Bear with me. Headache and a half. Headache and a half. Alright. So Bartleby, you are done. It goes to it. The second its turn begins, you watch it kind of look around. You then see kind of 8 of the tentacles kind of up curl and kind of start glistening with different colors. A kind of a rainbow of magical energies on its face. And then, as though you hear a voice kind of in your head, more faint than you've heard it before, but it says, "I have what I need." And then it descends into the water stone and vanishes. The second it does, the stones around you start to glow, and you watch as each of the platforms that are around the center start to kind of manifest with pure energy, and then burst as magical glyphs appear on them. Bear with me while I change the thing and switch the music up.
I knew it was bad. Something might have been down.
Oh, hold on. All right. And music. Perfect. All right. So, depending on where you're standing, depends what happens to you. So, those of you who are standing on the far left side, I would like for you to each make Constitution saving throws.
Do I need to make a saving throw even though I'm not on the platform?
If you are above or below it in temporal space.
I want to use lucky, John.
It's a good thing that I've had years worth of eating Ruby's cooking to build up my fortitude. I'll tell you what.
I got a 19.
I got an 18. Oh no, I got a 20 because I got advantage on Constitution saving throws.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm not standing on the platform. I'm standing on the walkway.
Well, sorry, that's correct. So if you're standing adjacent to one, or within 10 feet of one, rather, I need you to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
But if I were flying up above, what happens
Again,
there?
temporally up and down. If you are above or below the platform, you are taking the check. Or making
I think the word you're looking for is spatially.
Spatially. Did I say temporally? I sometimes will do
Yes.
that. Spatially. If you're spatially above or below. Although space-time's the same thing. It's all one big block. That said, dexterity saving throw, great, and Ezlo, I need you to make one as well. Okay. So, Ezlo, you are drawn in 5 feet into the glyph space. Bartleby, you feel a kind of ripping and rending on you.
I wanted to try to use lucky.
I heard you.
Okay,
That's why I'm starting with you.
got it.
For loves. You feel a ripping and rending. You kind of focus in on yourself and know the thing that's happening to you. You feel like you're being summoned or teleported elsewheres. The rest of you who are on that space feel it as well, but not so lucky in your ability to withhold against it. Corso, you feel a pulling as you're drawn towards it. So too is your servo. It is drawn in. You are not.
Actually, that was so. My homunculus has a +7 too, so I just clicked Dex, so that's actually a 25.
Okay, that makes sense. Then fine, it stays with you. That's fine. That said, Rakosh and Benkar and Popovic, I need you to go ahead and roll a d8.
So to be clear, 20 failed.
Yep.
I think.
So did a 22.
Holy
I
shit.
missed that part.
Bye.
Oh, so if the 22 failed, Corso would probably be.
No. 22 failed for the Constitution saving throw.
Oh, okay.
Dexterity's pull is different. Sorry. So yeah. Okay. Cool. So Rakosh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Benkar 1 and Popovic 6. All right. Once you are shifted, those of you that were shifted, you do not get a saving throw. It's an instantaneous effect for whatever's on there. Ezlo, you are drawn into yours. I need a Constitution saving throw for the effect in this place.
I'm about to take a crap ton of damage, guys. This is
I am-
an evocation burning.
All right.
I am a skinny boy.
So, perfect. All right. Perfect. Okay. So, Ezlo and Rakosh both, you'll be taking 28 points of necrotic damage as you are drawn into kind of this weird nether space. Benkar, you feel your body twist and kind of discombobulate. It feels like you are being manipulated physically. You watch as your legs turn into squid tentacles. Your base speed is now 10 feet. Or sorry,
Shit.
5 feet. Land speed is 5 feet.
That's pretty badass, though, Benkar.
I bet
That's
you
not
can
really
swim
scary.
real good, though.
Popovic, you feel as if you are surrounded by just raw elemental energy. Do you have any resistances to elemental energy?
He stinks real bad.
I can change the elemental energies of my spells, but not quite to resist their damage.
You're taking 42
Do you have
points.
absorb elements?
You're taking 42 points of damage. The type for the 42 is all. If you had a resistance, it would be halved to any type of elemental damage. That'd be cold, fire, lightning, my brain's not working. Thunder,
Poison, acid, thunder.
acid, all those, yes. Perfect, but you're taking 42.
So we're off down, by the way.
I just hit below half health, guys. I can keep going.
Okay. So that said, it now goes into an initiative round, but we're not on initiative trackers anymore. So you as a group need to discuss what you're doing. What you do note is... Oh, sorry, your spell book. Let me check something.
Let me throw it up there.
Yep. I was just going to scroll up to it, but yeah, that works better. So it doesn't have stats.
Hold on. There you go. It's spectral.
Okay. Intangible, doesn't occupy a space. It's not physical. It's just a telepathic connection. It's like a familiar, but not.
I mean, it says it can be destroyed.
Where does it say that?
At the very bottom, it stops manifesting if it is ever more than 300 feet away from you. If someone casts a spell magic on it, if the awakened spellbook is destroyed, if you die, or if you dismiss the spectral mind as a bonus action.
Okay.
Right, so the spellbook is what I carry in my hand, so yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, it'd be fine. I'm not doing anything to it, I don't think, that would warrant that. Not in that space. Okay. That said, you are up. If you want to speak out of turn, you can. If you want to plan, you can as well. But that's how this current segment of the game will be going. So if you want to do something, you can. But you do definitely feel that the presence in the spaces will continue to warrant the same response for you standing in it.
I'm also.
So,
Rakash has fallen, Ezlo. You do notice that.
Corso's looking around. He sees that his current companions are in peril all over the place. He doesn't really know where to start, but what is this thing in the middle? He wants to do a sort of, or I guess like an Arcana check.
Sure.
To sort of see if this is the like crux of what's happening.
I forgot to mention that. I apologize. It is a table. It has a total of 8 chairs seated around it. And it does appear that there is kind of like a weird place setter kind of tablecloth on the center. Nothing special besides.
Do I need to make a check?
If you're using your action to do so for this turn, you can.
Okay, I will, and I will also move closer to the table as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and roll that check. He has the whatever special ability, so advantage.
Okay. Arcana. Perfect. So it appears that the cloth is actually a magical artifice that you're familiar with and have utilized a couple of times in your grim dark future. It is known as a spell pool. Spells can be placed into it. Spells can be added to a pool. And basically, the spells that are added into it, what you understand is in olden times, a group of mages would basically link to the pool and be able to cast those spells as if they had had them memorized at all times. You've emptied pools on your own to glean some of the spells that you know, old remnant pools, but they're not terribly common for you. But they are something that exists and is a ready source of knowledge for you to kind of force spells out of. You'd also note this one. You'd also note this one's empty.
Interesting. Does it have any sort of connection to what's going on with all these other things?
Who knows?
Like, I'm trying to figure out if this is like the crux of what's happening to all my teammates.
Couldn't answer your question because that's a bit vague and awkward. That said,
if whatever spell is happening, or whatever arcane mechanism is powering all these,
I get what you're asking, but you're basically asking me to tell you the solution, and I'm not going to. So we're gonna move on to the next person. Sorry, you can figure that out. You can certainly figure that out. Next up is whoever wants to go.
All right, mine's quick. I'll grab Rakash and I'll dimension door us to the middle.
Okay. At the start of your turn, I need you to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
$18.
It's a failure. You're going to take 27 points of necrotic damage. You're able to successfully grab Rakash and teleport out.
Yeah, I could. This isn't too bad for me. My heritage. I'm used to the old necrotic. Sorry, how much damage did you say it was?
27, so half would be 13.
Just another day in Meridia.
Yep.
Let's go.
You're like, oh yeah, walk across the wastes. Fucking break it. Okay, perfect.
I'll take him to the table.
Okay.
I'll lay his body along the table.
Rakash, go ahead and move yourself over that way. And we'll go ahead and get Rakash out of the way. Death saving throw.
I'd like to heal Rakash when I get the chance.
Yeah, when we get everyone done. That's one failure. So you're setting the initiative order, by the way, with this. I didn't know if I had mentioned that. It was kind of a secret that I was keeping from you, but that said...
I'll try to fly over to the table.
Okay. At the start of your turn, I need another Constitution saving throw.
Oof.
You feel it
Nice.
drawing you in. You focus on your Bartleby nature of not being able to be sent anywhere that you don't want to go, and you fly on that way.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. You fly on.
I'm gonna go right there, at this one. So, you said that they're like pools where spells go?
No. So the and I said nothing that you would know unless you make an
all right.
metagame.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no pool. There's just a tablecloth, 8 chairs.
Rakash body.
Rakash body on the table. Yeah.
If anybody's looking confused, Corso would explain what it is.
Yeah. Corso starts talking as he's kind of getting out the medical tools necessary to bring Rakash back to life. That said, it would go to either Benkar or
either me or
Pappy!
Pappy. You look like you're ready to move. You doing it?
Can I move of my own volition, or is it feeling like something's tethering me?
Nothing's tethering you, but at the start of your turn, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, this is gonna burn so bad!
24.
Success.
Nice.
So 36 halved would be 18, so you'll take 18 all types of damage. All elemental types of damage. And then you can go ahead and continue your turn.
Alright, and... Since I got them stubby legs, it's time to bust out my secret weapon. Zabbity-doo, get the message there soon! Messenger speed!
Zoom, zoom, zoom!
Get the F out of here! I shit at the table.
Alright.
I hope I'm fine.
Okay. Benkar, you are last on the docket then. Your base speed is currently 10, but at the start of your turn, I need you to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
That question mark closer to us? What is it?
Ooh, that's not bad.
19 is a failure. So your hands turn into tentacles. You can no longer perform somatic components.
No.
He can't do his dance!
Like many times over. Right, there you go.
Your base speed
Nice.
is 10, so you would need to dash to get out of the circle, or perform a verbal only spell that teleports.
I think Dimension Door is a verbal only spell.
I believe you're
I'm
right.
gonna try to do it that way.
Okay. Poof. If you
I will
cast Dimension Door, you can appear wherever you'd like. Okay. The only reason we're staying in initiative order is so that we can get to Chad healing. Prakash, go ahead and throw up your heal.
Yeah, so what he does is he sets his revolver on the table, he pulls a mace out of his belt, and he touches the mace to, and the mace glows with a golden light, and he casts first level Cure Wounds on him. That's my spell infused item is the mace. It's infused with Cure Wounds. So I can cast it 10 times at first level for free.
Great. That's one. And then throw your heal, and Rakashi, you're back up. So we can continue with the initiative order, but the point is moot at this point. You can go ahead and free. Interact as you please. The only reason we're doing turn interaction that way is because saves and dying.
Bartleby would ask, Ezlo, what did you learn about this table?
I'd say it's a nice mahogany, sturdy craftsmanship. Pardon, I'd say, I'm not the best woodworker.
My bed's made of part of that mahogany.
Nothing about its magical nature?
Go to banging and the hanging.
No idea. Table seems just a table. The thing in the middle, not sure. Not familiar to me.
Does it look like he's telling the truth?
He does. Corso starts explaining what he learned.
Corso.
Yeah, and I believe Chad said he was forthcoming with that information.
Yes. I mean, if anybody's looking at it like they're confused and they don't know what's going on, especially after Ezlo starts, going on about the craftsmanship of the table.
I just asked one person.
Yeah, Corso just sort of smooths the tablecloth out, and he says it's a spell pool. It's designed to absorb and contain spells. In the past, groups of mages would come together. They would use the spell pools to collectively pool their power or possibly share spells with each other. And he looks around and he says, "This one's empty. I think we might be able to use this to cancel the effects of all these platforms."
But here's the question. If we do that, would Shad Gerloff have access to what power even more so than he already has?
I don't know the answer to that question.
But we're stuck here until we find out.
Right.
Let's not rush to conclusions, because haste makes waste. We should think about this. Make sure we've come to a rational, logical conclusion. Not that I'd be any help with that.
So I'm going to try a thing. I'm in the seat that I'm sitting in. I'm going to cast Disguise Self.
Okay. So you cast a spell. You turn into whatever you want to look like. Sorry, one thing that I didn't mention specifically regarding Corso's explanation. It's not a casting into the pool to create an effect. You remove the spell from your spell book, or you siphon it out of your mind and put it into the pool. You lose the spell. It enters the pool.
Oh, okay. I will do that instead, if I can.
Okay. Disguise Self?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second you do, you kind of tear the pages out of your book, toss them in. The spell is no longer prepared if you had it prepared.
I did.
And you watch as the glyph on the southern side kind of appears to glow kind of a violet color and still kind of maintain its presence and color, but you notice that the swirl around it is less hostile and appears to be more benign.
So the one in the far south?
Correct.
Okay.
Which I believe was correctly marked as illusion by one
Yep.
Tim.
You're welcome, by the way.
Would I be able to remove spells from my Staff of Power?
No.
If I'm going to encourage someone to try divination directly across from me, right there, to see if it's set up in the typical way that the schools are
As you're kind of playing around with the seats.
Transportation, bud.
As you're kind of playing around with the seats and kind of thinking of that, you realize that that's probably not it, because there would be no connective tissue to the seat that you kind of occupied, really, and where you dropped the spell off. It doesn't seem that there's much of a connective tissue to that.
Okay, so it's more random, the placement?
It's more, the placement appears to be kind of random.
Okay.
it's certainly not what you would categorize as the normal wheel of magic.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but the spell pool now has, Corso would be able to identify the spell Disguise Self in it. Yeah, but you are not the ones that benefit from this pool.
I understand.
Right.
So we just need to basically dump spells of the different schools into different,
Correct.
seats.
And Corso, you would know how to extract spells from the pool if you so desire.
Interesting.
Without checking,
Corso places his hand on the cloth and he focuses in his mind's eye. Now, does it have to be spells we have prepared?
Correct. Well, no, sorry. It does not. It has to be spells you know.
Okay. He's gonna focus, in his mind, he's gonna concentrate on the spell Flame Arrows.
Okay. You watch in your mind's eye as your knowledge of the spell is extracted, and you can now see it in the pool. Also, you would note that Flame Arrows is Conjuration or Evocation.
Transmutation.
Evocation, okay. The red fiery one in the far left side.
Transmutation.
Transmutation, sorry. The bright green one to the north kind of starts glowing bright and kind of changing awkwardly. And then you watch as Benkar drops to his knees, which are now knees now, and the tentacles that were once hands become dragon claws.
My donation. I pull out the armor of Agathis.
You're back, baby.
Put it into the orb.
And our Agathis is Abjuration, correct?
Abjuration.
Perfect.
Ask no more of me.
The three-moon glyph to the right, you see it kind of manifestly glow more benign.
I'll pull out a gift of Alacrity. It's divination. Out of my spellbook and put it into the carpet.
What is that spell? If only I could copy it down before you do that.
Venkar, we need necromancy, Venkar.
Gift of Alacrity, you said, was divination. So the white circle to the top right glows brightly and then starts to kind of spin more benignly.
Alright, what spells have we done so far?
We've done illusion, abjuration, transmutation, and divination. We need necromancy, enchantment,
Evocation.
evocation, yeah.
Evocation part. Alright, that's probably gonna be me.
Necromancy.
I'm calling Evocation. It's just whether I want to do the one I actually prepared for the day or the one I hadn't.
Alright. This was an old standby back in my old traveling days. It hurts so bad to get rid of it. But I opened up my spell book, and I'm turned to magic missile, and I weep as I tear it slowly from the pages, and I turn it into the center.
It's such a classic! Toss it in. Yeah, sure enough, the evocation ring glows in its strange nature and seems to be a bit more benign at this point.
Corso is going to donate another spell.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could you tell me which one is that? Which one?
I probably won't use. But he's going to use. He reaches out, places his hand on the pool, closes his eyes for a moment, and concentrates on the spell Catnap, which is enchantment.
All right. You watch as the yellow circle on the top becomes more benign.
Now, should we remove these from our list?
Yeah.
Is there a spell you have to have prepared or just know?
A spell that's in your spellbook if you're a wizard, or a spell that is known if you are a normal caster. If you are a divine caster, you shouldn't be here. But if you have a spell list that you acquire spells from, the spell that you are putting in the pool is removed from your spell list.
You need a necromancy spell, Kevin.
Cost would not be so steep for two of us.
Benkar will donate false life to the cause.
All right.
Wait, would cantrips work here?
No.
Okay.
That said, necromancy for false life. You watch as it glows kind of a darkish purple-black in the far south right corner there. And as it does so, it feels that it's more benign in that space.
That killed me inside.
I bet.
So, the last one we need is conjuration, though.
I got it. I'll put Tensor's floating dick in.
Tensor's floating disc, you said?
Yeah.
Conjuration. So, sure enough, they appear to all be kind of more of a benign coloration to them. The spell pool kind of folds up in, becomes kind of neatly kind of folded like a flag would be folded in the center. It kind of starts to spin in its place, kind of pointing in random directions. That said, as it does so, you watch as... Bear with me here. No, this is not as clean a change as I was hoping for. Bear with me. Oh man, that's not good.
Is that not good for us or not good for what you're doing?
No, it's not good for a system. I'm trying to do a thing that would have been beautiful. You watch as the table in the center, as it starts to spin, kind of stops and then stands up, or continues spinning, but kind of stands up on its point. So like it's folded like a triangle flag. It's pointing straight down, and as it does so, the chairs and the table start to sink into the stone. What do you do?
Corso wasn't sitting at a table, so he just watches impassively.
Okay. Does everyone who's sitting at the table stand up and move away from it, or remain seated?
Stand up.
Guys, do you think this will take me back to Ruby? Let's go for a ride! I'm hanging on tight!
I'm going to hang on to it too.
Who's hanging on?
Bartleby and Papovich.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't see another way out of here, so I'm gonna hold on.
We're going on. We're going down!
Okay, no, sorry, Rakesh, you can't change your mind. Go back.
Hey, me and Corso, we're gonna be best buddies for life now.
Bear with me for 1 second.
I mean, you definitely have worse friends.
So, it looks like the ones that stayed in the center were Ezlo, Benkar, and
Bartleby and Papovich.
Except for Cosmic.
Did Popovic do a hop skip like back and forth, or did he go?
No, he was pretty clear.
Hold on tight!
All right.
Ruby, I'm coming home!
So as you descend, you feel like you're dropping into the vast, the space around, and as you do so, you feel like you're plummeting, continuing on southward. You then see a massive eagle-like creature fly out, and riding atop of it is Gressil. In his right hand, he is wielding a sword, which each one of you mages recognizes immediately. Sword of Ultimate Sorcery. He flies out towards you and rides underneath each of you, collecting you each in turn on his giant eagle. He flies back up in the hole in the island that was formed as you sank, and everyone else on top watches as a massive eagle flies up, lands, and then the others are kind of shunted off of the eagle very quickly, as it kind of just shakes them about.
Again!
Gressil remains on the eagle, looking to you. Those of you who've remained on top, what you see is falls into the floor. There's now a perfect hole in the ground, and there's painted tile around it now that seems to point in the 8 directions. You also watch as the railing side that was around the outside raises up over you at a height of 20 feet and then seals off in a structure above you, sealing you in to a kind of space. You watch as carpets roll out from each of the 8 directions in a perfect kind of like whoosh, and it appears that on the opposite sides of these carpets, where you would be looking into what would now be a room, instead you see strangely furnished rooms. And let me get this fixed.
All the riches.
The other minor thing you notice is it does seem that there's a spinning sensation for those of you that fell out of the floor. From those of you who are looking up at it from below, you watch as this thing spins above you. You don't know if it's because you're falling and spinning or if the island itself is actually
A
spinning.
fast spin or a slow spin?
Kind of like a Lazy Susan or roulette machine would spin.
So not like a gravitron.
Right.
I would wish.
That was funny. The load screen said opening planner transport.
Perfect.
John, from would I know Gressil from my era?
Make a history check.
Alright. Because I don't know how present I would have been when everyone like had their initial introduction since I was in the 18.
Gressil was your contemporary, correct?
I'm contemporary, yeah.
Gressil is a known mage and kind of master of a gang in Parnak, but not much beyond that.
Gressil, right?
And you also saw him like when he came in, because remember you were missing through. You've seen him a bit here. He's.
Oh no, I was fully not into it because I was busy imagining all the ways I was gonna please my wife Ruby.
And with that said, Corso turns around and walks towards this room.
Okay. Gressil kind of looks to Popovic. You also notice that a couple of misfigures bound off of the eagle, and a couple of normal folk or a couple of misfigures are already present. They didn't go down the tubes. That said, Corso heads off in that direction. When you enter into this room, you see what appears to be a carcass, or rather a taxidermied. I believe this one is a hippogriff. No. The other one, griffin. No. I was right the first time. Hippogriff. There's a hippogriff. Surrounding it are bookshelves, 20 foot high, filled with books. And you realize as you're kind of stepping into it, the titles seem to be shifting on your sight. The titles you are aware of, books that you have read before.
I'm gonna go into the room behind Rakosh.
Okay.
What's the size of this taxidermy griffin?
The size
or
of
hippogriff?
Actual hippogriff.
So that'd be large?
Yeah.
Okay. Darn, can't animate it.
Rakosh, you enter into the room that you are walking into, and instead you see a griffin, and similarly, a room filled with books.
Have I read any books that relate to my current circumstances?
Again, all of the books that you're seeing are books you already know and have memorized. None of the titles seem to be new. It seems like the titles are forming as you're seeing them, and some of them are the same book over and over again.
Interesting. So in Corso's like native time, some of the books he has found and has read weren't actually complete.
Correct.
They were sort of like, damaged or, ripped up or whatever, so he only read part of it. So he sees a title that, if there was a book that he found once that, was really, really badly damaged and he only read part of it, and he wanted to finish reading that book so badly, and he was really disappointed that he couldn't. So he sees this book on the shelf and it looks pristine.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh, and he walks over and he pulls it down off the shelf and he flips to the part that he remembers finishing and continues reading from there.
You will note that the book seems to terminate exactly where your memory would have allotted. It appears...
He grunts in frustration and throws it on the floor.
All right. As it hits the ground, you see it shut and then fly back up to its place on the shelf. That said,
What's this glowing thing in front of the hippogriff?
seems to just be kind of a light above that seems to be radiating, kind of creating a light in the room. Moving on, real quick. Rakash, the room that you enter into, there doesn't appear to be titles on these books. There just seem to be numbers. And it seems that it's all one volume. All of the books seem to be identical in styling. And there appears to be a specific set number of books in this. 616 books.
I guess I'll pull off whatever I think is the first book.
Okay. You pick up the first book, you said? Okay. You start to read it, and it appears to be a description of, from what you can tell, generation of the realm. Apparently, according to the text and its early portion, it seems to follow closely to the religious text that you would know as the Bynod. An individual known as Atavius, a god, and an individual known as Ashtar, a god, were warring in the world before. When they realized that their conflict was due to the disputes between Order and Bedlam, they decided to allow one mediator to reign over them. They created the first being, an individual known as Onionomen. This individual was then set to basically give them both something to cherish and to instruct, and that's where you kind of get in the first volume.
Okay, I'll put that one up.
We'll get to it in a bit. Moving along to Popovic, Ezlo, Bartleby, and Benkar, whichever one of you wants to speak up first.
I can go to the one over here. Check
Okay.
it out.
You're heading which way? Okay.
To the west and to the north.
Perfect. So when you enter into this place, the furnishings seem to be more natural. It appears that tree branches grown out of the western wall. There are lights, and it appears that there are floating, kind of glowing butterfly figures that are moving all throughout this chamber, on specific places, kind of set into cubbies that are kind of naturally grown inside of the trees. You see that there are books that are present. The book's titles seem to be written in a strange language that you're not very familiar with. As you're kind of looking at it, you're realizing that the markings appear to be the words of creation, which you know and reading and understanding are the baseline for what the language of Celestials and in a way Infernal and Abyssal is based on.
Okay. I speak Celestial. Do I make anything out?
So you would know that the titles are kind of in shorthand, but if in truth the books are written in what seems to be present there, reading those words could cause you to lose your mind.
Okay, we don't want that. Forget about it.
It's like grog. I love it. Sorry. Benkar, Popovic, Ezlo.
So, Gressil, how do I get back to my wife?
I do not know. The Arch of Time was supposed to be here and was not. They say as they kind of walk away from the eagle. The sword that they're carrying, again, is the Sword of Ultimate Sorcery, which, if you're not familiar with my campaign setting, you should know the basic link to all magic is currently in Gressil's hand.
And you can't solve the problem with that?
I cannot. The ruby eye kind of looking at you. You kind of feel like a glaring kind of sensation on you. I believe that this is a transient position. You are to glean what you can here before we move forward.
Okay then. Well, just to let you know, I think whatever we had done earlier wasn't a good thing. It was a bad thing. I think we gave him more power, that Shao dared off.
I don't think Sod Derlithoth is a real strong portion of what we are dealing with here. Where we began is not where we are.
Oh, alright. I guess if we're all picking rooms, I'll go down here. Where my hair's got singed.
Okay. So you would see that the room in question has a floor that appears to have a magical force over it. You can see down into the stars, but you can also see that the magical force seems to create lines on it. Like there's a magical essence in the force field that you're standing on now that draws the constellations at this point for you to see them. Looking down, you can make an Arcana check.
Alright, is this considered a... what is it called? Is this considered a magical object or device?
Yeah.
Woohoo, I got advantage. Mystic Conflux, baby.
What'd you get?
30.
Okay. So you would note that the constellations that you're looking at appear to sign with a spring. This one's spring. A spring night sky. You would note that the markings above seem to show the fluctuations of the moon, and there are books and books and books, all in this kind of circular kind of pattern around you that appear to be astrology, astronomy, and cosmology books, detailing lots, you presume, about that kind of material. There might be some books here and there that you're familiar with, but the general knowledge here seems to be beyond what you're akin to.
Hey guys, we got a bunch of stuff about the stars down here.
I yell up down the corridor.
Okay. You will note that you, those of you outside, cannot hear Papa. Continuing.
That's fine.
Ezlo, Benkar.
Ezlo has a kind of frustrated look on his face, like just another. Not really. Still, I'm not exactly sure what our purpose here is. So he pulls out a very ornate, fancy-looking pipe. Looks like a very Eastern style, like dragon, where like the mouthpiece is that tip of the tail, and then like where you pack it and where the smoke comes out is like the mouth. He like lights the tip of it. He takes like a big inhale, and he towards Gressil he just puffs out, like Gandalf style, a puff of smoke that takes the shape of kind of like a eldritch horror, and he just glares at him as he kind of walks down into this area. Okay. It's a pipe of smoke monsters. It's just a fun little magic item.
Perfect. You enter into this room. It appears that the room seems to be kind of moving and shifting, and from what you can tell, it seems to have kind of like an almost kind of living kind of essence to it. And the bookshelves seem to be kind of slotted in spaces that are almost mouth-like, and kind of undulate inside of these mouth spaces like teeth would inside of a mouth. The titles of these books appear to be written in a language that you're only just familiar with. If I remember correctly, do you have Infernal or Abyssal?
No, I'm the other way. Deep speech.
Deep speech. Right. So then, no, you aren't familiar with these at all. They appear to be kind of... no, apologies. Wrong room. Wrong note. They are written in deep speech, because deep speech is the far plains time. Yeah, they appear to be kind of titles that are categorically notating the great old beings that once influenced the realm known as Urs.
Are they like repeating titles, or are they like just tons of different ones?
Tons of different ones. Names that you do not even know.
I'll pick one up, and the Gazer will pick one up with his telekinetic, and we'll both read them.
Okay. You're like, I found my place. Perfect. But you would note that this has nothing to do with necromancy, to be sure. That said, moving along to Benkar, last but not least.
Benkar will go to the northeastern room.
Okay. You enter into this one, and very much like Popovic's room, it does also have a floor. You can make an Arcana check for the star signs on the floor, or underneath the floor. You're pretty sure, with that roll of a 17, you're pretty sure that this is a winter sky that you're looking at here. Noting mainly the Huntress being the main zodiac that you're seeing there. There are sun symbols above you. It does appear to be kind of sun cycling and kind of connected with zodiac symbols above you and on the walls. And then the books, these all appear to be letters of demise. Individuals who... basically, they're memoirs.
Anybody I recognize, especially a necromancer.
No.
I will pick up a random book and read it.
It tells the tale of a soldier who fought alongside a dwarven host outside of Osiria. It seems that they were entrenched for some time against a force known as the Old Guard, who were attempting to assert the capital during the earlier portions of what is outlined as the Osirian Civil War. And it appears that this individual's memoirs kind of end with a post-humus note of stating that the individual was found on the fields of Whitewall, having been decapitated, but by what appears to have been a dwarven glade chariot.
That is grim. Anything else besides books in this room? Maybe like a necromantic rod of power or something.
Unfortunately, no. That said, I think I've gone through cycle for everybody. So, Chad, yeah, what are you doing on the fly there?
Corso is frustrated and confused, but he nonetheless, his personality is pretty much all about always moving forward. So he starts going around. Sure, during his adventures, he has encountered the spellbooks of many wizards. Mm-hmm. So he goes around and he pulls like, let's say five different spellbooks off the shelf and kind of stacks them in his arms. And while he's collecting them, his little homunculus like whistles at him and he responds, "I don't know, but some of the others might be able to make use of these." And so he gathers up 5 spell books and walks out of the room.
Okay.
Basically to head over here and pass the spell books on to his wizard companions. He's pretty sure Bartleby is a wizard because he saw him ripping spells out of a spell book.
So you walk over to Bartleby with the spell books. Bartleby, Corso comes over to you with the books. Go ahead, interact.
What have you here, friend?
It's some spell books I collected from the library over there. I'm hoping that they appear the same to you as they do to me, but I'm not sure.
As you're talking, a glowing golden butterfly of light lands on Bartleby's head.
Nice.
Yep.
Ooh.
You feel this strange kind of pulse through you, and of course, as you're talking to Bartleby, you watch as the butterfly disappears, kind of just dissolving more than anything. And you feel this kind of healing sensation kind of come over you.
Okay.
Cool.
Do I...
It's already been done.
It's already been done. All right. Can I open up the spell books and take a look?
Sure. He hands you a book. You look at it and it seems to have a title. You recognize it as the Histories of the War of Sword and Serpent. And as you kind of take the book into your hand and open it up, you see that it's not a spell book at all. It's filled with the histories of the War of Sword and Serpent. Corso, in your frustration, you're looking down at the book, and it has a spell that you know is a wizard's spell and not a spell that you could master as an artificer. He's holding the book and looking down at it in kind of like a chagrined kind of look.
This is not a spell book. I have seen many spell books. This is not one of them. What do you mean?
Now, you can't see because he has his visor on, but Corso rolls his eyes and like sighs in frustration because he expected this would happen. So he just like doesn't say anything else and just like drops the other books out of his hand and like walks into this room with the butterflies because from the future he comes from, vegetation is often sparse and raggedy. So being in a place like this that is like very full of nature and stuff like this, he's never seen anything like this. So he's kind of enjoying the new experience.
Perfect. Bartleby, is there anything that you wanted to do in the room beyond kind of entering into it? Corso, one thing you would note is make a history check. Sorry, get that out of the way first, then to you, Andy.
Sure.
Yeah. So you would actually recognize the 5 books you picked up as being the source for where you gleaned most of your current spells, including the ones you just deposited. You're pretty sure that with some study, you might be able to refresh those.
Oh, well, in that case, he would have held on to whichever books had those spells.
Okay. You
Which
drop
would have been Catnap and Flaming Arrows.
You drop the other ones, and then kind of like frustrated, kind of move over to a branch as Bartleby kind of moves around the room. Is there anything in particular in the room, book-wise? Again, mentioning that the words will kill you that you want to check out.
No, instead
Oh, sorry.
Okay, this is for Bartleby, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I would, Rakash looks pretty beat up, doesn't he?
He's nowhere near you.
Okay, so I would go looking for him with the idea of bringing him in and telling him about those cool butterflies and how good they make you feel.
Perfectly acceptable. Moving on then to, let's see. I think it was Brent, yeah. What would you like to do?
I'm just going to keep reading these books.
Okay. So yeah, you're going through these histories. Go ahead and make a history check.
Okay.
You feel like you could study up, but you definitely realize that as you kind of go, I know this. When it comes to a point where you're like, I understand this history well. You start to move through some of the later histories and realize this I don't know, and start to realize that as you kind of go, this is finite. There's an end. You move to the last book and are about to pick it up as Bartleby comes in.
I would say, Rakash, my friend, you took a beating in this room.
Really reading something important right now.
You're reading something really important?
Okay. If you disregard him and open the book, you would realize that it seems to be telling the story of a kind of middle point, really. It seems to be a very detailed story regarding a survivor known as, bear with me here, Gideon Corso, who is, according to the first pages here, scouring through the lost province, seeking out information. And it's very gritty detail-wise. So, like, it's talking about, like, him, pulling out a piece of protein pack that he had in his bag, devouring it as he scoured through the chambers. And it's very detail oriented, but it seems to be telling a very gritty acknowledgement of who Corso is.
Would I recognize that as the Corso that we're grouped with?
It definitely sounds like him. And if you kind of go, okay, well, that's probably him. Is there anything you want to do with the book? Because you're just at the start of it. It seems to be the kind of, and this is the last book in the series. Do you want to cut to the end? Okay, you cut to the end, and it states, and then it ended. Is the last page. That's all it says. And then it ended. You go back one page, and you realize that it's a description of him being drawn to where you were.
Okay, upon reading that, I'm going to tell Bartleby, I'm going to be like, hey, this tells this whole timeline up to Corso. All of us are in these books.
We're famous.
It cuts us out at the end of where we were drawn here. Because it describes Corso being teleported to us, where we are.
Thanks, Mickey.
Oh boy!
No, don't do it. Same reason I can't have
Oh. Thanks, Mikey.
Thanks, Mikey.
Mikey Moose.
Mikey Moose.
Gotcha, bro.
Mackie Moose. Oh, man.
And I would tell Rakash about the other room to the north and the west where you can potentially get some healing.
Okay, I'll go there then.
Alright, do you take the book with you?
Yes.
All right. The second you pass through the archway out of this room, the book disappears from your hands as if dissolving in dust, like Thanos style, just gone. And then what?
I'm just keep walking.
Okay. Cool. All right. Ezlo, I know you're leaving in 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and give you one last go. Or are you going to be able to stay past?
This will probably be my last round.
Okay, fine.
And then before I fade into mist, whatever.
Give me what you're doing.
Anything that really pulls my attention with what I'm reading, like anything that really stands out, or is it just like
so if you just
stories of stuff?
If you just picked up one at random, I would say that it details the story of an entity known as Bagelroth. And Bagelroth appears to be a great old one, known as the eyed-ended squid. And you're reading it and kind of understanding a bit about it, and it seems to be kind of like possibly like a beholder regenerate, or a beholder like essence. And kind of reading, kind of understanding a bit about it, it pulls you in. There's a lot here. What you're realizing too is not so much that there's a lot here and it's pulling you in because it's linking you to something or external. You feel like you're actually pulling and pouring the knowledge of it and the essence of it out of the text. You feel like another thing as you're kind of reading it, your senses augment. You feel like you can see from your gazer's position as it's reading a different book. And it starts becoming distracting. And you kind of tell it to stop looking. It closes its eyes so that you can focus in your attention. And then you realize that you're not only able to see from that position, you're also able to see everything around you. And it's really aggravating. Your perceptions start to change and alter. And when you start to realize that that's the case, you kind of start scratching the back of your head, and you feel what feels like an eyelid on the back of your head. And it opens, and you can see your finger from that position and that vantage point. And you kind of start and kind of set the book down. And then you kind of feel like that cognizance, that presence, that sense ends at that point. And I'd say that's about when you turn into mist.
Yep. I'm going to take a little nappy.
I'll tell you what's permanent inside Chance later.
Sounds good. All right, good luck, boys.
It was nice playing with you, Steve.
Yeah, till next time.
Take care, Steve.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go to click the link, and then I will be in there as well. And there we go. Okay, great. So, perfect. Popovic.
I guess after I yelled down the hallway, I started looking at these books. Might as well read what I'm looking at.
Sure. So, you start to realize that the books in question detail a lot regarding the sidereal court of the elves. It's not written in Elvish, which is weird, but it feels like these books were bound and created by elves. And as you're kind of looking over it, you feel this kind of stomach-churning shift. And as you kind of look down, you can see the sky move underneath you. And you kind of look at the book and realize you're reading about the mother, and the sky shifts to become the middle of spring, or the beginning of spring. And you kind of, stop for a second.
Oh my gosh! What is this? Okay. Alright, let's keep going.
Yeah, to kind of put it in context, have you ever looked up at the night sky and kind of feel like there's like more of a three-dimensionality to it than there is just looking at picture of the night sky? Imagine that being below you and moving really fast.
Right. So
So with that book, I would then go to pick up another book and start reading that to see what happens.
Okay. Very shortly after, the book starts to shift the sky beneath you, and you realize that you're reading about the Huntress, and it snaps into that position as well. If you're just kind of browsing it, not kind of reading too deeply into it, it seems to do that, but it does seem that there's a lot more context in the book if you want to pick it up and read it more fully. But
the mother was like a major deity, right?
The mother is a major deity, so is the Huntress.
Oh, wait a second. What's my sign? I'm going to go until I find... Oh, what if... What? 100. Let's go... Because is the mother also a deity,
Yes.
you said? Yeah, let's go back to the mother and start reading that,
Okay.
and I'll read that more deeply.
You start reading it, and you kind of feel this kind of balmy kind of feeling. Like, you feel like, there's kind of this calm kind of coming over you. It's like, to put it into context for a married gnome who has had plenty of positive coital sessions where they weren't ripped out of their reality, shunted into a different space-time, forced to fight a demon prince, and then etc. etc. And there's that kind of like lucid state post coitus. It's just kind of like a nice relaxed. You kind of get that feeling as you're kind of looking at the book, and it's very nice. Okay, Benkar, I believe, is the only one I haven't gone 2 cycles with.
That is correct.
All right. So what would you like to do in the room that you're in?
I will read one more book, and then I will head to the north room.
Okay. As you do so, you realize that this is a story regarding a individual who was at a massive battle, according to what their memoir kind of details. You basically skip the boring part of their life. They appear to have been a fisherman in a city called Rostagar, which you think you've heard of, somewhere off to the east from where you're at. And apparently they died when, the city fell. Apparently a being known as Duron, according to the book, ascended above it on an upside-down massive black pyramid, which sent massive beams of energy across the city, destroying it. The gentleman in question appears to have lost his lower leg or lower half to falling debris, and died 3 months later after suffering for quite some time due to that excursion.
Interesting. I will go to the north room. Maybe there'll be more interesting books there.
As you're kind of stepping out and finally kind of grasping the thought processes here, you start to realize that these are all strangely like terminus. And you look back to the book's names and realize there are names you know, including your own.
That would be an epic book. I will definitely read that one.
As you reach out for it, you hear a voice from the center room. It says, "To me," and it's Gressil's voice. "I think I've solved it."
Corso. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I would take a sneak peek at that book, especially the end.
All right. Go ahead and make a history check. According to the text, based on your roll, you die in a place unfamiliar to you, on an island that moves on the back of Zaratan. It appears that your death was at the hands of an individual known as Rakosh. Rakosh slayed you.
What?
But according to this text, Rakosh slayed you at your request. And that's where the book ends. Do you continue? Do you kind of take the book with you, or do you?
That is so awesome.
I throw it across the room and go, "No! This is rubbish."
Con!
Rakosh, Do you go into the room with the butterflies?
Yeah.
Okay. Corso sitting there for a while. One would have landed on you. Yep, it would have taken its effect on you. Rakash, you kind of get in there at about the time that Gressil calls for you to come back to the center room.
Okay. As I walk in, like, I just read about you, Corso.
I hope it was an interesting read.
It just entitled your life all the way up till you got sent here. And then it ended, so I don't know if you make it out of here or not, bud.
Well, if the book told you anything, I'm very hard to kill.
Yeah, at the very least.
Corso had really he basically found a comfortable spot to sit. He was sort of enjoying the ambiance because environments like this do not exist where he comes from. And so he had basically just taken a seat, gotten comfortable, and was relearning those spells.
Yeah, and the amount of time that, because again, it's kind of like riding a bike, and the amount of time that has been spent, you have basically consumed the 2 spells back into your being. Catnap and Flame Arrows.
Excellent.
But yeah.
When Gressil says to me, Corso would, close the book, he'd take one last look around the room and sort of just, because he feels, like being in this room, he feels happy. Like the ambiance is very calming and very relaxing, and this is not a sensation he's familiar with, but he enjoys it.
Agreed.
So he takes one last look around the room and one last moment to sort of like bask in the aura, and then reluctantly heads out and to see what Gressil wants.
Gressil, yeah. And then what were you saying, Rakash?
I said, and this place must be different for you.
Rakash.
Corso smiles. Corso smiles and nods.
Gressil, Rakash, do you stay in or do you return to Gressil? Okay. Kind of wounded. Corso, you can see that he's quite wounded. You know that it would take some time standing in that room to get the effect. It's not something that's instantaneous. Do you want to throw a heal Rakash's way?
Yeah, I'll boop him with my mace.
Okay. Popovic, you said you stuck with the mother on the reading and you kind of felt that strange kind of sensation. As you kind of hear...
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to boop him, let's say 4 times.
Okay. So 4d8 plus your... Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I'm just going to roll it 4 times.
Sounds good. So Popovic, you hear Gressil from the other room say what they said regarding having solved it. Do you head that way?
Yeah! The sooner we solve this whole thing, the sooner I can feel this sensation again, but next to Ruby.
Okay. Do you currently have the Zodiac for the mother as your gift or no?
No, I do not.
You do now. You head on into the main chamber in the center there. You notice that Ezlo enters into the main chamber as well, but is no longer physical. Instead is currently in his spectral state. And Gressil looks to you all and says, I think I've sorted it. Stay close. They step out onto space, spin the sword straight down, and stab it. You watch as it stabs nothing and disappears at its point, and then you watch a stone appears around it, a magical glyph appearing underneath Gressil's many robes, scarves, and the like, and kind of gray stone appearing underneath where Gressil is currently standing. I'm going to shunt us back to the main. The walls go away, the bookshelves disappear, and the room as you remember it appears before you. I think it's going to shift it into the music of the fight. That's fine. That's actually pretty good for a closeout. And you see that where the runes and magic were, you instead see that there are portals. You can see into the portals and beyond. It is still marking the magical centers, so that is still accurate. It does look like there are doors that were present, but have kind of fallen away. So you see the bottom halves of the door frames in those spaces. But you can also see that the portals themselves seem to kind of emit a massive amount of energy in presence. And you can see beyond into what appear to be different realms of existence, different places. But yeah, the room did spin, or the world did spin when he stabbed, or when they stabbed. So the positioning may or may not be the same. But yeah, that said, 8 portals, 8 different paths. Gressil looks to you all as they pull the sword away, and you watch as the sword kind of disappears, again, disintegrating. And they kind of look in that direction, close their gauntleted fist, and kind of, you can hear kind of a growl coming from inside of the cloaks. They look to you, and as it looks like they're probably about to speak, they turn to mist as well.
Well, now we're in a little bit of a predicament.
Man, this guy reminds me of this gray wizard I once knew that always keeps disappearing and reappearing at his leisure.
Flawless. I'm gonna give you inspiration for that one. Get inspiration. But yeah, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and remove a couple of notations here, and because they're not relevant really. But again, if you want me to leave them just so you have an idea of where they might be, presence-wise, that's fine too. But
Yeah, leave it.
okay. That said, do you want to look at any of the specific portals?
Yep.
Moderation.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and go from left to right. You can examine one portal piece at a time. Andy, where's Bartleby checking?
Divination.
The one marked as divination. Alright, so beyond it looks like there's a mountain. It looks like the portal exits out into the edge of a forest, just outside of the base of the mountain. The mountain is massive. Thinking about it, the only mountain that this one could be is Angdanuk, the mountain of mountains, the king of mountains. Its snow-capped peak seems to have kind of misty clouds that form 3 rings above it. Nice bluish-green sky.
I wouldn't get any sense of like the time period from just that scene.
No. It's certainly not the post-apocalypse. Rakash.
I'm gonna go to the one marked enchantment.
Alright. Inside, it looks like there is a internal space that you'd be entering into that appears to be cavernous and icy, filled with just cold. You can see that there appears to be kind of a very strange distortion to the light inside of it that's kind of like an aurora, kind of glistening across the ice. It appears to be slick, it appears to be cold, it appears to be very cavernous, and it appears to be very treacherous.
This room looks like a no-go.
Tim, where's Poppy going?
Well, I have a feeling we might have to go through all these portals at some point, but, let's... I developed a spell once that was conjuration based, and let's see what this might lead us.
Inside, it appears that you are looking at the inner workings of some sort of machine. You can make an Arcana check.
Yeah. Is this a magical device?
Uh-huh.
So I have advantage. 27.
You're looking at the interior of what is known as an anaxim, which the anaxim, and the only one that was ever created, is a god-created construct.
Oh boys, we got things on deific proportions over here. It's the anaxim.
That said, moving on to Chad. Corso Portal.
Well, since he's already checking that one out, Corso looks around, First off, do the vistas within any of the portals look familiar?
Not at all.
Okay, and he's going to move towards Popovic's. I'm sorry, what did you have to say about the conjuration portal?
The Enaxum's there.
Ooh, interesting. I thought he got turned into a ship.
At some point.
Oh, right. So yeah, Corso's going to walk towards the evocation portal.
All right. It looks like a hellscape. It definitely looks like the the worst thing you've ever seen in your life.
Reminds me of Summers as a child.
Fire, crags, doom, death, despair. It does look like in the center there appears to be a coiled and curled up red dragon of an enormous, massive size.
Do I recognize this dragon as any particular individual?
The only dragon that it could be based on its size is the dragon Ashmedeo.
Stay away from there.
Yeah. Corso takes a step back and rests his hand on the grip of his revolver.
As you're looking in and see it, you watch as its eye kind of opens and kind of looks in your direction.
Oh shit.
He stares back unflinching.
Cue doom music.
Right?
Benkar.
Has anybody ever heard of the Icon of Sin?
Benkar, you want to take a look at a specific chamber, or?
Benkar's specialty is necromancy.
Okay. If you go and check it, you would see the pale red sun and red sky. Not very familiar with this site or where it might be. You would note that it appears to be a plains out before you with a path that seems to lead off to the horizon. There doesn't appear to be anything of note or feature. You do know that the sun isn't red and the sky is also not red. You can make an Arcana check, but I'm going to tell you that this DC is insane. So
I'm confused. You said it had a pale red sun and sky, but it's not red?
Oh no, sorry. It is red. Pale red sky, and then a red sun. You would know that the real life sun and sky is not bad.
Do you think a 29 might get an insane DC? I feel like 30 might be the break point that we would have had to hit.
Maybe.
Nah, don't worry about it. Save it, man.
All right.
You're not familiar with the environs.
It's necromancy. So you better believe I'm going there.
But yeah, you can enter separate paths if you so choose.
Bye.
That'll shorten the length this one shot takes, or restrict who's all there.
A good vacation is made better with friend wizards.
You can see that the misty forms, including Ezlo, are looking at different ones. And you would note that it seems to have limited down to a total of 12 individuals. The 12 individuals in question, you have the 5 that you currently have on the board, along with Ezlo as a 6th. There appears to be a mage that is familiar to, let's say, Popovic only. The individual you would know is William the Wise.
Oh, old Willie!
Yeah. You would note that there's an individual present. This would be Corso and Popovic. This individual is Dale, the mage known as Dale Halfbeard, a dwarfish mage who's a master of enchantments and the like. A sorcerer. Benkar, of course, Popovic we've mentioned. A green-haired mage, which I mentioned last time, Samuel Corson, who... Was it Samuel Corson? No, Southwell. Samuel Southwell.
That's right.
Who was an illusionist from Harnack in the contemporary age.
Yeah, that's Matt's character.
Yep.
Oh, yeah!
Rakash we've mentioned, Ezlo we've mentioned, Bartleby we've mentioned, Corso we've mentioned. There is a mage who, again, appears to be more contemporary or past, so definitely a strange one. Not familiar to anyone, seems to have kept out of history's limelight.
Is there anything I'm gonna recognize as ancient?
No, unfortunately, you are the oldest one on the table. The second oldest being Bartleby, who is also the only person he knows is Rakash. Oh, and he also knows Benkar, but strangely.
Benkar. Can we check out more than one portal? Because there's 3 left that we'd like described.
Yep, and the last 2 of the mages that are present, there is Benson, the Hand, who's a halfling, walking around with a hand on a staff, and the blue woman, the Ganassi, known as Anari Rain Brand, who is known to some of you. Yep. Yeah, Anari.
What is that? I'm not familiar with that one.
She was
It's
in
not on
one of the
my spell.
Esperages.
It's not on my spell list, but I do have one of her spells prepared.
Yep. Anari's Electric Boogaloo.
It's a damn good spell.
Electric. What was it? Electric Slide. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Not Boogaloo. Boogaloo is a horrible word. Anyways, that said,
So transmutation.
okay, yeah. If you go and check it out, it appears that you're looking down on a river from a height, yeah. The river seems to kind of fork into a small kind of cusp of a waterway and head on up towards what appears to be a hilly area. The abjuration one seems to go into a twisted realm of strange, fanciful kind of vegetation. It kind of looks like the Feywild, but definitely a lot more eccentric.
Okay.
Illusion?
It appears to be a wasteland. Completely and utterly just sands. Looking at it long enough, it appears that you can see a reflection on the opposite side, on the kind of grayish white sands.
It's probably some kind of water. Fair enough.
Okay. We got them all.
Pick one, and I'll tell you, you have about 30 minutes to decide, so you don't have to rush it. Or you can, and we can end early, that's fine too. Either way it works. You guys did exceptionally well against the Derelithov puzzle.
Yeah, so we had a plan going in, and that worked out well.
Yeah.
Talked behind my back.
Benkar would like to suggest to his friends that they go into necromancy. You could all learn something from the red skies and the red cloud and all that stuff. It would be great. I could teach you.
Let me tell you about necromancy.
I would just like to say that I'm still hurt.
That room does not look awesome.
Maybe a place with a little bit more vegetation that looks more life-giving. I'd like to heal from my bumps and bruises a bit before we get into another scrape, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Bartleby would suggest the Riverlands of Transmutation or the Mountain of Divination seems more inviting.
Corso's not even paying attention. He's still staring down Ashmedea.
Yeah, she's not moving. She's just kind of looking in your direction. It's more of a, what the fuck is that kind of thing than a, yeah.
Hey, Corso. Hey, Corso. As I like, try to like tag it like the edge of your armor. Like, hey, Corso.
What?
Yeah, we're trying to decide where we're gonna go. Do you want to come to the center and meet up with the rest of us?
He glares at Ashmedea one more time and says, sure.
As you're kind of giving that final glare and about to turn about, you see an individual appear in front of the red dragon. The individual in question appears to appear and slot down a massive hammer with a dragon's head, and kind of look up to the dragon as if in reverence, and then drop to a knee.
Damn it, that's Calarith.
Bartleby, my friend.
Corso is confused, but it doesn't really seem relevant, so he turns away and heads back to the center to sort of brainstorm with everybody else.
Okay. Where are we going?
My friend, I would submit that check out the necromancy place. It's much better than illusion. Am I right?
I can say illusion for sure, but that one has a pretty nice looking river and a pretty nice looking mountain in the other one, so you're having a pretty hard fight there.
Corso's pretty intrigued by the Great Machine.
Whoa. I mean, constructs made by gods. Let's hope they're friendly, because I feel like they might squash us pretty good if we have to go up to that thing. I mean...
Pappy speaks wise word.
Corso is tempted by the sheer opportunity to learn more about powerful constructs.
Well, how about we put that second on the list? First, let's go to one of these nice places with the rivers or the mountains. And, hopefully a place where I can top myself off and, rejuvenate and ready to rip, rap, and roar again.
And toot, toot, toot.
Oh,
Corso
that hasn't come yet.
because-
Don't wait. Don't worry. You don't want to be near when I toot. It really rips.
Corso nods and says, "It would be nice to feel earth beneath my feet again."
So transmutation it is?
Or divination. I like both. The mountain looks pretty awesome, and the transmutation looks like it's a fall. I don't know if there's anything to catch us. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm trying to take fall damage.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have feather fall.
I got it, but I didn't want to use it.
Oddly enough, I never went to go learn that spell. Don't ask me why.
Well, I will concede to go to transmutation to stick together. A bunch of minds is better than one all alone, even if it is Benkar the Dark.
Enough.
Wise words, my friend.
You sure
Bada
we can't
bing.
move that dark to just like like a gray, or like a not so dark? Let me tell you more about this.
Looks like we're going to transmutation then.
Okay,
Right.
so we have
Numbers.
one vote for transmutation from Brent.
I vote the same.
2,
Let's
3,
do it.
4. Chad?
Transmutation works much like the so like if Corso was like intrigued and enjoying the room he was in previously, the transmutation portal looks like an absolute dream vacation.
100%. Yeah, I would agree. So you move towards the portal, and the first one of you that steps through, you can feel the rush of warm air. You all follow through and realize that you're not falling or anything crazy. It just seems that you're slowly falling towards the ground and heading in that direction. And the detailed description of the introduction of that realm that you are entering into will be detailed in full on the next Patreon game. Thank you for watching. We're going to go ahead and close it out a bit earlier than I was anticipating. Well done on the pre-planning mission. I enjoyed that. It was good. And I will be making sure you are aware of the changes that were granted to you if they're not obvious in the rooms that you entered into. That's it. Stopping the stream. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you next
Bye.
Thank you.